Hey everyone, welcome to the Interactivists podcast, your best source for discussion about gaming, tech, movies, and general nerd and geek culture, really. The first half of this podcast is dedicated to Apple Music, Apple's newest service aimed to take on Spotify. We've had a few days of using it and just wanted to discuss how it compares, really. After the break, we discussed Facebook, a few subtle design changes they've made recently, including the Friends icon, which has been changed to give better presence to the woman in the image, and to make it more equal. This is something which has been getting quite a lot of controversy online, and I feel needs to be discussed in greater detail than we give it this week, as it echoes the growing issue of fair representation for everybody. Everybody is entitled to their decision on subjects like these, and in this podcast you'll hear at least 3 different viewpoints, some of which, if not all of them, you may not agree with. You might even find them offensive or incendiary, and this is never intentional. Please respect that myself and the guys who join me do this podcast because we love our hobby. We love its growing, changing and emerging out of the niche and into the mainstream, and we all agree that we need to be more inclusive and sensitive to the idea that we've been a boys club for far too long and maybe it's time to do something about it. That being said, there are different sides to every story and it's important that they're all heard. Get in touch, let us know your thoughts on the matter and what you think needs to be done. Also, if you're a woman in the community or in the industry and you want to be involved in the discussion, please get in touch. We'll come back to this subject soon and give it much more time. In the meantime, enjoy the podcast, contact us on Twitter at Interactivists or email info@interactivists.co.uk. There we go, enjoy. Cool, so welcome to the Interactivists podcast, episode 8. I don't know if we should start numbering these slightly differently now, because we've got the tech one, we've got the kind of movie and nerd one. Like, we'll probably do some, like, we've got some creative stuff come in, so should we start? Is this episode 1?
Episode 1T or T1?
No, I think let's just keep it sequential, and then the in the title we might prefix it with tech media, and then. You know, it's just one list, because it's not like there's multiple podcasts on iTunes. It's just the one. But exactly. The numberings are really cool. I saw that you started doing it. I thought, fine, that's good.
Jim and his
every
phone.
Time, man. Every single. I've got to.
Although you can shorten it to just like a hash symbol and then the number. And then that way, because I found that when I was browsing,
it was really long.
Yeah,
it was.
That brings me on to my first rant.
Wait a minute. I'll introduce everybody. Yeah. We've got Marcos back.
Hello.
And Jim, as always.
Hello.
Good point. And you're Tom.
And I'm Tom. So this is our tech cast. Yeah. We've got a fair few things to talk about, which we'll get to. But what would you want to say?
Just a quick one. I occasionally burst out at companies on Twitter to rant about products, and my latest target is Santander, who are simultaneously the first to adopt Apple Pay card registrations,
which is a great thing.
Yeah. But this is also the same company that on their mobile app, every transaction is prefixed with a bunch of pointless text that then pushes the part where it says who it's from out of the box, out of the text box. There is no way for me to see when I'm looking at my transactions of people paying into my account. I can't see it goes from ...
Yeah, you've just got a hashed keyword of some
and I can't
sort,
tap on it and expand. That's it.
Really?
I have to. Yeah, that's it. Like I can show you. Like that's it. It just goes back transfer whatever, some gibberish text from, and then ... And then there's just 10 of these transactions or whatever in the view, and I was just like, amazing.
So you have to go online to see that.
Yeah. The app is virtually useless to me because all I can see is the amounts, but I can't see who. And a lot of the amounts tend to be the same because I charge the same hourly rate. Yeah. So anyway, a stupid little thing. I've already shot out at them because it's just who does this? Like it's 2015.
Surely, you'd look at your app and you'd think, that's broken.
Right.
That's absolutely broken. We need to fix that.
Anyway, just a mini rant about it doesn't matter how big your company is, you still can be Well, anyway, I can't think of a word that's polite.
Well, I must say,
Yeah.
I've been using the Lloyd's online banking and like mobile banking for a few years, and it used to be terrible because it used to be just a web port. Basically, the app was just a portal to open the website, which was horrific.
Virgin and MBNA have that.
Yeah, but Lloyd's recently, I think, have updated it. I mean, this is in the past year, so and it works really well now. So.
I'll tell you, the nicest one I've used is actually NatWest, because they've got Touch ID login, and the actual interface is well thought out, and they've polished it up, and it's actually an app, and it's quite nice. I don't use them as my main bank anymore, but they were okay actually. Yeah, it's quite. I have an account with them that I'm trying to pay off.
Right.
More about my personal finances.
Do you mean you have a debt with NatWest you have to pay off? Yeah.
Okay. There's a few things that I guess are worth talking about, as well as the fact that Marcos will never find a good mobile banking. I mean, this is like an ongoing theme throughout our podcast, isn't it?
Oh, actually, there is something topical tech-wise. I heard news that there's a startup company that's trying to make a branchless bank in the UK. It's actually the second one. They're called Atom, and they think they can piggyback onto some other banks in terms of branches, and just basically, they're hoping people will jump onto this idea of like having their main bank account be with a bank that doesn't even have branches. It's all in an app.
Yeah,
a bit like a gift gaff thing.
I could easily do that. Yeah. I mean, First Direct, don't they do that?
They do that actually, but they're I don't know. They're different because I'm not sure why, but these guys are some sort of first in a different sense. Probably because of the app, rather.
Okay. So.
Anyway, I thought that was it's probably the way things are going. But
yeah, I mean, I don't go into my bank. Maybe if I'm on the high street and I need to go and get a lot of cash out, like 600, 700 quid or something like that. I did it recently to go and buy my Mac, and I thought, the cash point isn't going to let me draw out that money. The only way I can do that is to go into the bank and draw it out with a cashier. And luckily, I have a bank that lets me do that. But I mean, if you're First Direct or someone like that,
you piggyback off HSBC.
So you can go into HSBC.
They are a subsidiary or something of HSBC.
Yeah.
Although they're separate companies. Like First Direct keeps getting rated number 1, and HSBC is nowhere on the map. Ironically, it's a bit.
But they use their infrastructure, sort of thing. Yeah.
It's kind of like giffgaff uses O2, although I don't think giffgaff is owned by O2. They just use O2.
They just piggyback on their network, just like Tesco Mobile do,
right?
Yeah.
And someone else, I can't remember.
Yeah, Lavaro and all that stuff.
I did actually get my giffgaff package through this week because I'm leaving Orange, who are basically just horrific.
In what way? Just
every way.
Service, network.
No, the network's good.
You say Orange, but that includes the fact that they've switched to EE.
Well, yeah, it is EE, but I still have to go confusingly through the Orange customer service. Whenever I press 150, it says EE, but then they refer to it as Orange in another sentence, and you're like, well, am I with EE or am I with Orange?
It's been a couple of years, hasn't it? You'd think they'd sort this out.
But I'm still on an Orange package.
Right.
And so I've rung up and got my pack code. I now need to get the phone unlocked.
Oh, good luck.
And that's with Orange, who I'm pretty sure are quite terrible.
So your original contract was with them?
Yes.
And then you just ramped it down to a rolling contract or something?
No, I've just been on that same contract, monthly rolling. Yeah, I know.
Forever.
I know, I'm terrible.
Wait a second. How long has it been since the end month of your contract?
Don't even ask. Probably a year.
Oh, shit. Okay, anyway.
Yeah,
I don't want to make you feel too bad.
I've been on this £35 a month rolling contract, and it's one of those things I'm like, I must phone up and change that. But I really don't want to speak to Orange and go through the process of trying to lower my contract. One time I tried to do it, they said, I don't know whether the operator was confused or something. They all seemed quite confused. And they said, well, you'll have to go onto a new contract. And I'm like, no. I want to lower my tariff.
Right.
But just keep on a rolling contract.
Yeah.
And I phoned him up the other day to see, well, I'm going to go to giffgaff, which is going to be like 15 quid a month or something like that. And that's all I need. And they said, we can do you a new 12-month contract for pay-as-you-go for £15 a month. And I'm like, that's not pay-as-you-go. That's a 12-month contract.
Right.
Yeah.
And they can't get their heads around the fact that... And I said to them, well, I don't want to commit for long because I've got an iPhone 4S, which is fine now.
Yeah.
But in the next 6 months I might think about upgrading, and I want that flexibility.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they were like, well, you can have a 12-month pay-as-you-go contract, and it's like, but that's not fucking pay-as-you-go, is it?
Yeah, I think that just people, they're just not trained at all.
Yeah.
The people that work for these companies. I'm actually, this month, I'm now out of my 3 contract. So I'm looking at other things to do.
But yeah, I will happily, if you guys know of any options here I have.
I'm choosing giffgaff, I think.
What do you mean by options?
Like,
what to...
Is giffgaff a good option?
I would say so. I've heard good things.
I think you've earned yourself a reward. If I were you, I'd go on giffgaff, like a £15 a month package with the unlimited data for about 3 months, and then I'd maybe treat myself to an iPhone 6S or something.
Which will be like September, won't it?
Yeah, so. And that's what I would do if I were you as well.
Yeah, that's the plan. I mean, I've got a 5S, so it's that will definitely do. Yeah. But there's no point in me getting a 6 or 6 Plus because we're so close now. We're like 3/4 away.
Well, there is one way. If you broke your iPhone and you're desperate, I always tell people this. Like, I have an answer for every.
There are these people that continuously break iPhones.
Oh, that's amazing, isn't it?
I mean, touch wood. I've had this iPhone like 3 years, and there's not even a scratch on it, really.
Touch cheap IKEA.
It's kind of MDF.
Yeah, it's some kind of wood-based product.
It was in a tree at some point in its life, probably.
I love the hollow thud it gave back when you turned it.
That sounds woody-ish.
Yeah. But so one of my, because people ask me this crap all the time, I say if you want a new phone but you're in that weird limbo land where you're very close to the next new iPhone, I would buy a used version of the current latest iPhone. Yeah, because you're not going to lose that much value between the used one now and selling it used in 3 or 4 months. Yeah. So like you're talking, you might be out of pocket by like £30-40, but you get to use the latest phone for a little while. And so anyway, so if you really wanted a 6 or whatever, you can pick up a used one for like 400 and something, and then you'll sell it in a few months for 380. Well, I mean,
at the moment, I'm more keen, I think, on getting a tablet because I've not got a tablet, haven't had one. So. Any advice there,
guys? That's a good, that's a pretty interesting topic. Like, some people are a bit confused about what need there is for a tablet or what to use it for, but I'm quite interested in hearing what you envision yourself, is that a word? Anyway, envision yourself using it and why you feel... I'm not against tablets. I like tablets, but it'll just be interesting to see it's popped into your head.
What the use case scenario is. Yeah. Well, I mean, I quite often will sit on my bed watching my laptop, just relaxing. And then I think, I really want to browse the web because I want to, like, if I'm like, recently I'm watching the Tour de France or something like that, and I want to go and see the leaderboard or the rider roster or something like that.
You just want a simple way.
I just want to tab out basically, but without tabbing out.
Wait, hold on. You
I basically need a second screen.
Yeah, so you've got your laptop, which is playing video of some sort. Yeah, but then you want a second screen too.
Yeah, okay. and I figure a tablet's the perfect thing for that. But sometimes I'll be doing something like working on some music or in After Effects on some visuals or something like that. And I just need a second screen just so that I can either watch TV on the other one, portable, so I can go down to the sofa or whatever, sit on that, have a laptop on my lap, and just watch TV on the tablet or whatever, because I don't tend to use TVs a lot,
right?
And I'm getting really fed up of sitting at a desktop computer, especially in this gorgeous summer weather.
Oh
yeah, definitely.
So, well, I mean, that all sounds really good. I would get a used iPad Air 1. Which will probably run you about £240, something like that, for maybe like a 32 gig. It's somewhere around that figure, 250. I recently bought my mum like the highest end iPad Air 1 used for £400, like 128 gig and 3G, 4G for £400, and it was immaculate. And she's taken that off to Portugal because she spends some of her time out there. Yeah. And it's perfect because she's going to just get the internet hooked up on it, wander around. She can communicate with me. But like, I'm not spending £800. I'm spending £400, and it's really good condition. So I'm quite for buying. I know some people are really funny about buying used stuff, but
no, it's fine, why not? Like, there's
very little to go wrong on an iPad.
If it's in good physical condition, might have a few scratches on, whatever. Then.
Well, the thing is, mine is going to have a few scratches on afterwards anyway. Yeah, I don't like keeping them in pristine condition. I don't smash phones very often.
Yeah.
But they go in my pocket with my keys, get scratched down the back. Usually on the second day I own
Yeah, that's always the way.
And you put, because I'm always conscious not to put my vape and my phone in with my keys, and it just all the time just put my vape on my phone in my pocket. And I'm my keys are in that pocket. Oh, shit.
Yeah, every time.
And now I'm gonna have
do you
to
not
swap.
have your pocket arrangements?
No.
I'm one of those. I'm
No.
I'm really not that OCD.
I'll run you through it. It's
Go for it.
It's very specific. You'll never see me with keys and.
You don't
phone.
deviate from the plan.
No, I have a phone, a front left pocket, like a tissue or some coins on the front right. I always carry a tissue. It just seems, I don't know, I get a runny nose every now and again. Lots of information. Lots of personal information.
TMI.
And then I always keep my keys on my bottom right pocket, bottom right pocket. And then the left is just a spare. Normally my cards go in there so they don't get scratched up by my keys. So I always have 4 pockets and they're always utilised separately.
Right. Nice.
Yeah, so there you go. That's a little...
Yeah.
But it saves me loads of time.
Insight into Marcos's life there.
I like finding little shortcuts to just... I can
Life
set
hacks.
something and I can just move on.
Yeah.
I just... so anyway, that's my little thing.
No, that's cool. I mean, while we're on the topic of sort of Apple stuff, Apple Music has been launched. Has anybody been using it?
Yeah, I listened to it on launch. However, installing the thing was a fucking nightmare.
You're talking about 8.4? The software update? Or...
No, I managed to get it on my phone okay after about an hour of waiting for this damn thing to download. Bear in mind, I'm on Wi-Fi. I've got it next to the damn router.
Yeah.
And it still took, ages.
This was on the first day?
Yeah.
Maybe it's just demand.
Yeah, that will be what it is.
But then the nightmare came, which I still haven't resolved yet, of trying to listen to Beats 1 on my laptop.
Is that
Why
even
is that
possible?
a nightmare?
I couldn't figure out how to find it. I went to the website.
Is that just through... Can you
it's
even
on
do
iTunes.
it?
I don't know.
It doesn't have a web.
Yeah, I installed iTunes to the latest version, it's like, well, why can't I listen to...
So did you get there in the end?
No.
Hold on, so you've got the new iTunes where on the top the tabs have changed and it says, for you, recommended, something like that. It's got different tabs.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is on my MacBook Pro.
Yeah. It's got the new Apple Music tabs on the top, which are you might have it on there.
I haven't actually downloaded it. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Well, I installed the latest iTunes. I had to install some .NET stuff. Bearing in mind the Mac Pro was fairly new, so I had to install a few bits.
Yeah.
So .NET infrastructure and Java and a few things like that as well seem to be updating. And I still couldn't find out how to listen to Zane Lowe, apart from on my phone.
Is it even available on the
Why
website?
wouldn't it be?
No, I think it is.
You just have a web player?
Because I was under the impression that it was only available through mobile, through the app.
That's stupid.
I'm not.
But I might be wrong.
You might be right, but I can't think why or how.
No.
It's
like I don't plug my phone into my home hi-fi.
See, I'd say you're not.
I have a desktop that does that.
Yeah.
See, that's interesting because I never plug my Mac into my hi-fi. My phone goes in.
Right.
We're opposites there.
Yeah, that's funny because I don't plug anything to anything. I just use AirPlay.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what? You see, Apple are probably assuming you've got something like Sonos or AirPlay or something like that.
I've got my Apple TV that's plugged into my really old Acoustic Energy, that iGoes. I've had those
Wait
for
a second.
years.
How do you plug your Apple TV?
Oh no! Wait a minute.
Into it?
The Apple TV is plugged into the TV, which is plugged into the iGoes.
Gotcha.
You've got to have the TV turned on in order to.
Right. I was going to say because just to know that for a bit, if the Apple TV had a 3.5mm jack output, stereo output, then that would get me quite a hell of a lot closer to buying it because it would be an AirPlay, but. Yeah. But Airport Express, are they still calling it an Airport Express or is it an AirPlay?
No, I'm pretty sure they're still called Airport.
Anyway, the only reason you get one of those...
Apple in your naming is...
Wait a second, you know what I just realised? The Apple TV now costs less than the AirPlay box.
Yeah.
Airport Express box. Clearly they need to retire it because now I'm just confused.
Yeah.
That's a weird one, isn't it?
Yeah.
We should look at that later.
But I mean, if Beats 1 isn't available on desktop...
No, it must be. It must be.
Yeah, but it must be. But I spent an hour and a half, the whole of Zane Lowe's show pretty much, trying to find it on desktop. I've got my desktop PC there with Windows. I've got my MacBook Pro on OS X, obviously. and I'm going between the two, like resetting the Mac constantly with updates to. I updated the operating system, the iTunes, and I'm going around.
I'm just looking
Google
this up, by the way. So
where can I listen to?
Are you up to date on either of these?
No.
Ah, okay.
No, because I never listen to I never listen to music on my Mac.
Just on your phone?
Yeah, just on my phone.
That's the same for me.
Well,
I find it really
because
easy.
I've got a music studio at home and I work from home. I don't spend a lot of time in the car or on foot.
Right.
I spend a lot of time at home. This makes me sound really terrible.
But
quite normal. I listen to music through the studio system.
Yeah.
Which means that if it's not on desktop, then I have to get a convoluted system of wires and cables round to my sound card.
I mean, it's a perfectly reasonable scenario. It just seems weird that it would be difficult to find it. I don't. Basically, I haven't fired it up, so I can't.
I couldn't find any links to it at all.
So, other than that weird sort of bit where you actually just couldn't access it, So, did you go on it on your phone?
Yeah. I was listening to it on the phone for a while.
What do we think of Beats One?
Well, it's Zane Lowe, so it's going to be good music.
Yeah.
The tracks that I listened to about an hour's worth, and to be honest, I haven't been back since.
Yeah. I was listening to it on the way back from work, and it was his show. But I was also, I think yesterday I was listening to it, and it was like the girl who's based in London, and it was very different.
Yeah, if you get to evening time, you get the London DJ. I think great that it's actually had a pretty strong start. It's fine. The other
Worldwide,
thing is,
New York, LA, Auckland, London.
One bit I didn't. Every time I tune into it, I'm somewhere in the R&B or hip hop or rap spectrum, and it's like I thought this was going to be more worldly. Like it tends to be very urban, which would make sense because it's a spin-off of beats and all that. But I thought it was going to be more balanced. But it's basically hip hop light.
Basically,
It is,
it's
but at the same time,
really high on the iTunes chart.
When I was listening earlier, it was all like rock. Like the Zane Lowe show is quite a lot of that. I mean, there was a little bit of kind of the other stuff, but it was
maybe I've been unlucky.
Yeah, it was like a lot of rock music and stuff like that. So I don't know. In my experience, over the last, I've only been using it for 2 days.
Yeah.
So but I've kind of listened in at different points during the day, and there's definitely is a lot of that at different times. But there's at least Zane Lowe's kind of like.
And Zane Lowe plays roughly what time of the day?
It was sort of drive time.
I think it's 5 p.m, isn't it?
Yeah, 5 p.m. in this country.
Okay. But then it gets replayed because it's time zoneless in theory. It then gets they do like a 2-hour show. Then they do an hour of like their favourite tracks or the highest on rating or whatever. Then they do another 2-hour show, I think, and then that sort of repeats around the clock, so that people in Australia still get drive time at their drive time kind of thing.
So but then we have to listen to it again as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Which is, I think, is a bit of a wasted opportunity, and I don't know if they're gonna, as they fill up the roster, they might cancel out some of that stuff.
Yeah, but what if I want to go back and listen to Zane Lowe's show? Can you listen again?
Well, I guess you've got to
you just got to wait another few hours for it to come back around. You see,
there isn't a catch up, I don't think. So.
Yeah, I think
it's not iPlayer.
I think they're trying to force people into. It seems that they've come up with this idea. We'll have this, time zoneless streaming radio, and it's like, well, it's not actually anything new. You've just got a radio station. You're forcing people to listen to things when you want them to listen to them. And if I know
what it answers though.
If I want to listen to Zane Lowe's show, normally when it was back on the BBC, I'd just go to iPlayer and listen again.
Yeah,
and then I can listen to any show from the last 2 weeks.
You know what? I'm not certain. I'm not sure you can't do that. I mean, obviously, some kid somewhere is uploading it to YouTube somewhere, whatever. Yeah. But I know that somewhere buried in the new music app, there's a section where you can view, I think, previous playlists or something like to do with previous shows. It might be the playlist anyway, but I think the purpose of this new radio station is kind of. It's thoughtless. Like if you're like, I just want to listen to some music, but you don't want a machine to pick it out for you. You go in and you go Beats One, and there's a human picking out stuff you wouldn't even have thought of, and it's very, it's very brain dead kind of because you're just going. I don't even have it in me to choose what music I want to listen to. Spoon feed me some music, please, and then you just press play and. I think that's the purpose of it.
Can I just this isn't to do with getting it on the Mac, but who is this? cultofmac.com wrote a piece about, it literally says, just like terrestrial radio that uses it as its model, Beats One doesn't have an archived recording of its shows. So that answers that question.
Well, that sounds like stupid. That sounds like going back to old model radio.
Yeah. They say you can obviously route it through a computer to record it if you want. Right. So you can literally record it as it's playing, and then you can listen to it later, which is sort of not the point.
Yeah, which is basically like taping the charts off the radio, which people did in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, where they had two tape cassette decks, and you record them from one to the other.
Yeah, and then you got to flip it halfway through.
Do you think they're playing on the angle that, well, one, you've got all these Snapchat kids who they're not about replaying and all this other stuff. It's all about this.
But they're also about demand. Those same Snapchat people will watch Vine videos when they want to watch them. They'll watch YouTube videos of music when they want to watch them.
Yeah, but to be fair, there's nothing played on Beats One that you can't just go and get on the library.
Yeah, I mean, that it's that whole culture of like, I want to listen to Zane Lowe, but I want to listen to him when I want to listen to him. If I get in at 7 p.m. or I finish work at 7, I want to listen to his show then.
Yeah, because you like the DJ as much as the music.
Yeah, that's it. I love Zane Lowe. I love his music
The interesting thing about that is that that's been around for at least 10 years in the form of podcasts. And as much as I love podcasts, and they are popular and all this other stuff, although there's still plenty of people who have no idea what a podcast is. But that's been around, and evidently Apple, who has run the biggest of podcast stores or whatever, has looked at that and gone, you know what, still not that many people looking at this thing. Let's try this model where you can't get stuff on demand. I mean, it's very easy to go and get a podcast on the podcast app of anything you want, but still billions of people have not touched that podcast app. Wait, that's a weird statement, but anyway, millions of people haven't touched that podcast app. Even though it's right there, it's free, no restrictions. I don't think you even have to sign in.
Yeah, but iPlayer, everybody I speak to on a daily basis knows what iPlayer is and knows they can go back, listen, and watch again.
I guess this is version 1. Then I wouldn't. I wouldn't be surprised.
I think they're going to have to change within 6 months. You'll see a change, and admittedly, I think they've strung this together, and they've just launched it just to see how it works.
Yeah, I mean, they bought a company. For a ton of money, they have basically popped the app together. That is sort of, I find the app to be a little bit strange sometimes anyway. And then they've released this radio thing, and they're just kind of gauging reaction. I'm sure that they will quite quickly adapt it. I mean, Apple have the money and the resources, and they're able to do things quite quickly.
They can be quite stubborn at times, though.
They can be, but I think because this isn't specifically an Apple thing.
No,
this seems like specifically like a Beats thing, and it seems to be sort of like this has come from Dre and.
From Dre.
Well, yeah, like, this has come from him, and what's the other guy? Irvine, Like, they seem to be the masterminds behind this. So, like, I think if they see something needs changing, it probably will be changed, and they're now executives at Apple, so they can make...
Well, the thing is, they've got all these massive names from, like, massive radio DJs like Zane Lowe. They've got Dr. Dre at the top. They've got Trent Reznor, 9 Inch Nails on board. And... I just listen to it and I think, this is just a fucking radio station.
Yeah.
This isn't revolutionary. This is just radio.
I mean, it's a way of getting music that you can then go and buy straight away, basically. Like, you're listening
to be fair, was not that straightforward before. I mean, you could Shazam something that was playing on the radio, but of all the... maybe it was straightforward and I never paid attention. But when I listen to internet radio through something like TuneIn Radio, I don't... maybe there was a button to go and buy it, but I don't want to buy it. I want to... what they've done is they've married Spotify to internet radio. Right? Because you can listen to internet radio, then you don't necessarily buy the track, but you can go and listen to it whenever you like.
But the thing with Spotify is it's on demand. That's the core thing about Spotify.
No, but so is Apple Music. So
but...
what you can do is if you're listening to something that you like, then you can basically say, "Oh, I'm going to start to save this for streaming."
Well, basically,
you know what,
they people were saying it's going to be the Spotify killer or whatever, or Apple are going to aim at that market. And for me, I didn't even interrupt my Spotify membership. I've still got that because
why?
I found it so hard to access and so awkward.
I mean, to be honest, I've still got my Spotify membership. I'm using my 30-day, 3-month free trial of Apple Music. I'm going to make my decision in 3 months, basically.
I tried a 3-month free trial or £1 trial or whatever of Spotify about 6 months ago, and I was quite hesitant about committing to building all my playlists and going through that hassle of like adding stuff to my music for Spotify. I felt like because it was separate to my already massive iTunes library, it was like I was double entering a lot of stuff.
You can load your iTunes library
into Spotify. Your iTunes library.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I think it takes your iTunes playlist as well.
Yeah,
oh, really?
Yeah, it does.
Well,
definitely.
Okay, well, basically,
in fact, there's a big button on the side that says import iTunes.
you know what it is that I only touch it on my phone, so it doesn't. It probably doesn't refer to. Anyway, I tried it for 3 months. Even when I had it on premium and ad free, I didn't fire it up that much. But anyway, what I was going to say was I pretty much will definitely get an Apple Music subscription on the principle that it's just integrated into all the rest of the package that I'm in with, which is like all my iTunes and all that. Yeah. And I'm not sure what it's like for people who already have Spotify. If there was some way to like 2-button click import all your Spotify stuff over to Apple Music, then you probably would think even more about the fact that you could switch over. Probably.
Did you need to do the 3-month sign up just to listen to Zane Lowe's show?
Yeah.
Well, hold on. There isn't a sign up per se. There's an opt out of renewal.
Yeah.
So you don't sign up to it. You can. Everybody is on Apple Music once you've logged in and you tap on Get Started or whatever. Then
I think you put your iCloud details.
Oh, you do.
Yeah. No, I had to.
But there's no transaction.
No. But there will be after 3 months.
Yeah. So there's a pretty straightforward menu somewhere in there where you just slide a switch over and they won't touch you.
Yeah.
Oh, really? I need to press that.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually put it in my calendar.
This is all part of the singular service, though, and you can't really expect to have one part of it free and one part of it paid for.
For me, I'd like to be able to listen to Zane Lowe's show free. I want to listen to all these radio shows.
Wait a second.
Free?
Are we sure that we can't do that?
Well, I know, I'm not sure, but like, I wouldn't.
I have a feeling you might be able to do that.
I don't think you can.
I
couldn't find it
to be honest.
anywhere.
Oh.
And apart from on my mobile and when I upload...
Oh, you mean like go on a website and stream Beats One? Yeah. No, you can't do that. No.
But why not? It's just like...
because they're just trying to get you to buy iPhone.
You're not buying
absolutely
an Apple
naive and stupid to me.
No, I think they don't want... Radio stations exist because they can like advertise to you, right?
Yeah,
Apple's not going to interrupt Beats One to advertise to you to buy an iPhone. So why would Apple create a radio station, let you stream it for free on any device?
As long as it's mobile.
Wait, it's coming out on Android, isn't it?
Yeah, but at the same time, like, you know, that means that they've got active users.
£10 a month. Right.
Yeah, and they've got £10 a month from you.
Yeah.
So, like, and more users, and they can be like, fuck you, Google, we've got a better...
But do you know, a lot of artists are opting out of, whatever it's called, Apple Music, like this free subscription.
Yeah.
Like, Taylor Swift wrote an open letter
Did you see the outcome?
Yeah,
no, I didn't.
You might be a couple of weeks behind on that.
She's back in now.
Basically... She highlighted a pretty good point. Apple only took a day or so to go, fuck, this isn't very good.
It was less than a day, it was about 12 hours.
Because they were offering 3 months free, which means
they backpedaled and said, you know what,
good point.
We'll pay the royalties to the artists.
Right, okay.
So a lot of smaller labels got back on. There's still people outstanding, but
there's a lot of artists and labels that don't. Well, mainly artists because labels don't give a shit. But a lot of artists that don't agree with the streaming platform just in general.
Yeah,
and that is, you know, that's really fair because they're getting pennies. But at the same time, like, it's another avenue, and it's not like anybody's asking them to only do streaming, but it's just the way that things are going.
And to be honest, artists are usually so naive because they think they're getting screwed by Apple, whereas it's actually their record label that's taking a horrific cut. It's the same thing with Spotify. Spotify came out and said, actually, if you check your record label contract, you'll find we're paying you actually a decent amount per play. Right. It's not great, but it's not like slave labor.
Yeah.
But your record label's taking an enormous cut, and then your publisher takes this much cut, and then and it gets.
You're
the
right.
thing is, the artist is the last in the chain to get paid.
Yeah,
it's true.
Which is why I've signed up for quick advert here, Ditto Music.
Yeah.
And I get I have to do all the marketing work, publicity work, publishing, everything myself. But I've taken that on board. That's fine. But I get 100% of everything.
Well, what do you pay them?
I pay £50 a year.
Right. So they've created a platform.
Yeah, they've created a platform which
publishing music
I can
publishing
have
platform.
Distribution. Yeah. They call it distribution, but it's publishing really. To iTunes, Spotify, things like Beatport, which are dance music specialist version of iTunes basically, and hundreds of others, RDIO, whatever.
Well, that's where it's going. Like everybody's, I think we're still in this panic time where ye old music industry is still trying to cling on to concepts of the past. And the thing is, I don't cry for you artists because you don't need millions of pounds to come up with your art.
No.
It's just some people have figured out ways to get millions of pounds. Therefore, you feel like you're cheated when you're. But let's face it, if you could look back on a lifetimes of being an artist and you made 40 grand a year, a lot of people would still look at you and go, "Fuck, he didn't have to." He just had to do what he liked for years.
Yeah. Then again, one thing you've got to take into consideration is it's a little bit like sportsmen sometimes. You're only going to earn that 40 grand a year whilst your music is being played, streamed and bought.
Yeah.
Because after that, it can tail off.
The thing is, though, surely when you're going into this business, you should kind of keep these things in mind. You can't just kind of bitch about it because, I mean, like, I am totally, like, I think, musicians should be paid for what they do, and like there are some incredible artists that I happily buy CDs for, stuff like that. Well, not CDs, I down like on iTunes, but I'm also very aware that they're not really getting the money that they should be getting.
But that's because of shrewd business. There's a lot of money in the entertainment industry, like music industry, but it doesn't always. A slice of the pie is taken every time it goes through someone's hands.
Exactly.
And so the closer you can get to your listener, your client, basically, your customer, and take as many people out of the chain as possible, the more pie you're going to get directly.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, it's just the way the
I don't,
way it works, really.
It's weird with art. I mean, like you'd think, okay, so music. Let's say music is art, or quite a bit of it. Quite a lot of it's junk. So some of it's art. Right. Some of it's
there's some real shitty art in this world as well.
And there's definitely a bunch of people in there who make music who are pretty much just trying to get a paycheck. So there's a lot of that. And I think if there weren't the Kanye Wests and Beyoncés in the world, if there was nobody making more than 200 grand a year making music, then everybody would kind of just shut the fuck up. Because the problem is we've got these billionaires. And that means you can get that money. Wortherefore, people who make music think, why haven't I bought my third house yet? And it's like, you have a sweet gig. Yeah. You're making music. You're not lifting that heavy. You're
doing what you love doing.
Right.
I know you're struggling without that jacuzzi.
In the grand scheme of like professions, like that's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
If you could make a consistent, I know it doesn't work like this, but if you could make a consistent 40k through your lifetime making music, you've had a pretty decent. You've had a pretty decent life.
You've made music and also got middle management sort of pay.
It's because you've got these people who make hundreds of millions. That it just gets people into these expectations of like just blowing out.
Well, the thing is, artists all suddenly think, "Oh man, if I'm going to do a music video, I need to be in a Mercedes or something like that, or if I turn up to a gig, I've got to be in a Porsche or a Ferrari," and it's like. Yeah. No, just turn up in your, your Golf GTI.
Jim's going to make a music video in his Punto.
Man.
Yeah. Red Punto.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
Red Punto rolling.
Right. One thing that I wanted to sort of talk about, like, regarding Apple Music is something that... have you listened to the latest Vergecast? because they've mentioned that
I've tailed off a little bit. Should I get back on that?
It's good, and they bring up something that's really funny, and which sort of goes back to what you were saying about sometimes there's trash and sometimes there's art.
Okay.
And like they've got the thing, I don't know if you've noticed, and it's something they talk about on the Vergecast. Sorry guys, I'm going to steal this, but they've you can star rate things, but you can also heart things. So you've got kind of like you can have like a 5-star heart, and the heart is basically, what do you reckon the heart means?
Stuff you like, but not necessarily.
The heart is essentially what you want them to keep serving you stuff like that.
Okay.
So basically, you could have like a 1-star heart because you're like, this is really trashy, but like I really want to listen to this sometimes.
So it's an internal. It's kind of like stuff you like, and then stuff you want other people to know your rating for. Like it's almost like
So you've got so you can rate something 5 stars,
which is like a recommendation.
But you might not necessarily actually want Apple to be serving that to you constantly, so you might not heart it. Whereas you might give something like 2 or 3 stars, but which is kind of like a guilty pleasure. You kind of like it, but like you sort of, it's not great music.
Guys, this was a shitty podcast, but I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, exactly. And I find that really interesting. And the fact that, because I was listening to Bob Dylan earlier, I was like, I'm going to obviously rate this pretty high, but I don't always want to listen to Bob Dylan, so I haven't asked for them to kind of serve me more Bob Dylan, basically.
Right,
I find that kind of, because usually you can either star rate things or tell them that you like them, but not both.
It's like something like, I don't know, like 9 Inch Nails albums. I don't like every album, some of them, but I want Trent Reznor to keep making and experimenting with like stuff I don't like, because I appreciate. It's like Bjork's album Vulnicura. Half the tracks on there are almost unlistenable, but I love that about Bjork, and I will sit there and listen to it, and it's like, I just want you to keep doing this and creating it. I'm not a massive fan of this track, of this foghorn going through a metal tube or whatever the hell how you made this sound, but I want you to carry on doing this.
So would you say that was like a 5-star heart? Would you heart it? Would you ask Apple to keep serving you that, or would it be a 5-star?
Really
no,
see, that's interesting, because what you just described was more like if you could rate the artist or encourage. You tap an encourage button. Encourage artists.
Do more of this, please.
You support. You might not. Okay, there's a couple of albums I didn't like, but I was like, okay, they're experimenting.
I think that's the purpose of the following. Like when you follow an artist and they get hundreds of thousands or millions of followers, I guess that's an indicator that somebody's interested in what you're doing. Like, I want to see what you're up to. Not necessarily buying your records.
It's the opposite of the like one-hit wonder flash in the pan thing. It's I want to see your career grow. And okay, I'm not too sure about this album, but I like where you're going. I want to hear the next one. So it's like keep going.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense to separate that. I don't think I'll find myself. I don't know how much I'll use this.
Incidentally, I loved the latest Bjork album, but sorry, carry on.
I heard about it, but I haven't had time to. How long has that orange juice been up there?
It's empty.
Okay. So
a while, but it's empty.
That's another thing. Did you see? Talking of Bjork, she did a video on YouTube, which is 360-degree pan.
How do you view it?
I heard about it, but I didn't.
It's actually it's quite buggy, but in the top left-hand corner, it's like a normal YouTube video, but it's obviously in and you can watch it in 4K as well. And I've got a pretty hardcore computer, and it was still stuttering.
Yeah, I bet.
But you've basically got in the top left-hand corner, it's like Google Maps, like Street View.
Yep, you have like a D-pad on the screen.
Yeah, it's a D-pad basically in the top left.
Right.
Unfortunately, you can. It's great for scrolling around. It would be like it's basically
like a motorized,
motorized camera, and you can follow Bjork around as she goes. The camera stays in position if you don't touch it.
Oh, okay.
And so she'll wander off to the right of screen, and then you can follow her. And then there's 2 of her, one behind you and one in front.
What?
Well, yeah, because she splits off. And
oh, you mean you can't loop?
It's not.
Can you do a full 360 degrees?
Yeah, you can.
So why is there 2 Bjorks?
Because there's 2 of her in
because
the video.
Bjork's nuts, and you just need to
why not
let it go.
Because the thing is, there's not a lot happening. She did it on a beach in Iceland, I think.
Hold on, wait a second.
If you've just got one Bjork in front of you, you sort of scroll round, and there's the rest of the beach.
So they filmed it twice. They tracked it and they filmed it twice and made sure she wasn't in the same space at the same time, and therefore you can.
Well, yeah, she kind of grew out of herself. It's a fairly
so
low...
it's part of the video, basically.
Yeah, it's part of the video.
It sounds a bit Bjork. Oh wait, yeah, that makes perfect sense.
But it's a great experiment, but I find it really buggy because you'll click on the D-pad and you'll be watching the video, and then after a while you'll click it and it will pause it, and then it will maximise it, and then it will put it back in the window.
Hold on, so they didn't do the clever Street View thing of you can just grab the screen and push right, push left?
See, that's what I thought would be great, but I think...
What happens if you watch it on an iPad?
Can you just scroll?
I don't know. I don't have an iPad, as we discussed earlier.
You know what? Yeah.
If I do, but it's dead. So
okay.
I think I tried watching it on my phone, and it still had the same problems, I think.
That's disappointing.
Yeah, but it's a good experiment.
Yeah, I'm gonna give that a go.
I like the idea of it. So,
I think we're gonna take a quick break.
Cool.
And we will be right back.
Okay.
So, Jim.
Hi, Tom.
How would you like a t-shirt?
A t-shirt? I've got lots of t-shirts.
This is a blue Interactivists t-shirt.
Holy fuck.
I know. Marcos, would you like one?
Right away, please.
Yeah? Well, you can have one.
No. How?
Well, if you tweet us, if you get involved on Facebook, if you engage with any blog posts, we will basically put you into a prize draw, and you could potentially win a t-shirt.
Wow.
Just like that.
Or I could just wait for you to go out of the room, go in that box and just grab one and
could.
then leg it.
But
Are we not talking about me exclusively here?
yeah, we're talking about anybody.
Oh, fuck it.
So anyone could get one of these t-shirts.
Anyone could break into your house, go into that box and grab a t-shirt.
But I think then maybe it's worth pointing out that you have to be contactable. Like if you leave an anonymous post on one of our things.
So, like, don't be an anonymous. We want to know who you are.
Because otherwise,
Twitter handle.
Otherwise, Tom's just going to have to throw a t-shirt out of the window.
Yeah, which I can do.
And hope it gets to you.
I mean, I'm wearing one right now.
Are you going to take that off and throw it out the window? Because if you are, I'm leaving.
But anyway, get in touch, get involved. We want more people to get engaged with our stuff. So yeah, you could get a t-shirt. So cool.
I'm sold.
Back to the show. Okay, we are back. That was our Apple Music thing. I mean, we could talk for hours about.
So are we selling the sweaty pants or not?
Well,
out of context comment.
Hey, in this room, it's perfectly in context.
I mean,
I don't know how anyone could take that out of context.
I mean, I don't think anybody would buy them. But anyway, right.
We're just not going to explain that.
No, we're not at all. Facebook. We all know Facebook.
Really?
We use it on a fairly regular basis.
Facebook?
It's a book full of faces.
Facebook?
Yeah. They've had a logo redesign, and it's fairly controversial. I mean, you guys have seen it. First thoughts?
Controversial how?
Because it's made something that wasn't broken.
I think
really boring.
Oh, do you mean the logo type?
Yeah, the logo specifically.
Yeah, I mean they've rounded it off. Put everything in nice. All the font is in nice circles now. I don't know. I think it's one of those things that typeface and font people will like go, oh yeah, but I like the old. For me, it's just yeah, okay.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is though, when logos are really great or really bad, then they usually, there's a lot of, the 2012 logo, for example, everybody fucking hated.
Yeah.
And the sheer amount of money that they spent on it and stuff was kind of crazy. I actually thought it was pretty cool, but I was the only person who ever did, I think.
But haven't they had that typeface for, since 2004?
I mean, like the Facebook thing.
The Facebook logo type.
Yeah, that has been there since almost since the beginning, I think.
Yeah.
So now, for some reason, they've decided to change it. And they've got... I mean, I could read out a load of their reasoning, but it's all bullshit because whenever you justify something like that...
This reminds me of the Pepsi thing from, whatever... It's been a while now, but when they paid... I really need to become a bullshit marketing dickhead. Because they paid some bullshit marketing firm, tens of millions, maybe even 100 million, some crazy number Pepsi paid for these guys to come up with. You remember that shitty new logo that was like?
Is it the one
it's just it's a circle, it's an orb, and it just had this little streak through it, and it.
But so they were increasingly happy faces.
It wasn't that clever, I don't think.
That's what the thing. That's what the idea was.
Right.
If it's the same redesign, like a few years ago, and basically like the Pepsi Max one was kind of grinning, the Pepsi Diet one was sort of half, and then and then the normal Pepsi one is just sort of smiling because nobody likes normal Pepsi.
I'm not sure if we're on the same. We're talking like 6 years ago or so.
Yeah.
I don't remember, but anyway,
I think that's that. I mean, I might have got them wrong, but yeah, that sort of was.
Well, they did have a booklet that went with it for £100 million or dollars or something. Pepsi did get a little booklet that explained where they'd sunk all their money into. But anyway, nobody gave a shit. It wasn't a better logo, and it was completely unnecessary. Of all things wrong with Pepsi, the logo was probably not the top of the list.
May I just say that I prefer Pepsi?
I actually prefer Pepsi.
Oh yeah, I'm not taking sides. I'm saying it's soda.
In fact, I'm weird. I switch between Coke and Pepsi, and I can tell the difference.
I'm 100% Pepsi Max is my favourite cola product.
I hate all the Maxes and diets.
Max is the way to go.
So you prefer the Max flavour?
Yeah.
There's no other reason.
No, I just prefer how it tastes. Okay. For some reason, I just do.
I'd struggle if we had I
really want a can of Pepsi now.
if we had 6 shots of the 3 grades of Pepsi and the 3 grades of Coke, like Diet, Zero, regular, yada yada, I'd probably struggle to identify them for you.
Right.
But anyway, so logos.
Pepsi, you can send me the check.
But before or after I talk shit about them for some another 5 minutes.
Okay. I like you, Pepsi. What you need to do now, Pepsi, is turn the podcast off. Go send the check. Once you've sent the check in the post, come back. Just don't cancel the check.
Sure.
Marcos, off you go.
No, I was just pointing out that sometimes companies get bored and they have some budget and they just need to spend money, or they need to look like they're trying to do something. Somebody's asked for some changes. It's got lost in translation, and it happened with Pepsi, and it's happening with Facebook because they just have too much money, around, and they don't know what to do with it. And so somewhere along the line, through a variety of bullshit marketing meetings, somewhere it got pushed that it would be a good idea to massage the font a little bit.
I mean, the thing is, right?
I don't think they've massaged the font so much as beaten the shit out.
No. They haven't gone from the old font to like capitals Comic Sans. It's pretty subtle. In fact, it's so subtle that I could have used Facebook for a year before noticing.
Yeah.
So it's not.
As you're using Facebook though, it doesn't come up isn't a date like. I think it comes up on the splash screen, when you put
the
in
login
details,
screen,
which
nobody sees.
No, because you're always logged in anyway.
Right.
But the actual F icon that you see on the top left corner, that's not changing.
Yeah, I saw that because I just looked at it on the iPhone just to see if the icon's changed, and I was like, it doesn't look like it's
the
changed.
thing is,
but they've changed the F in the logo type.
Yeah,
but
they're not changing the icon.
Like,
I mean, a change.
Just
it's still
a pixel at most.
It is a change, and a lot of kind of brand designers and typographers will probably be like, that is a huge change in the grand scheme of things.
I mean, for me, when you put the letters next to each other, the more you look at it, you're like, wow, that is a huge change, actually. But to the layman on the street, if you hadn't have pointed it out to me, anybody, I would have used Facebook for a year.
Let's face it, it's...
However, a weird thing is, you say that, but then I saw the Daily Telegraph today, and I noticed immediately, I was like, they've changed their font. Somehow. There's something different about this. And I managed to find, in the recycling, last week's... Actually, I think it was a year and a half, because it was in the front porch and had a pair of wellies on it.
Thanks for the detail.
Yeah. Well, I don't have year and a half old telegraphs lying around. But basically, they just added white stenciling to the outside line of each letter.
Okay.
And I was just like, why would you do that?
I mean, that...
But the fact that I noticed it instantly means I'm very familiar with that logo.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's something you see probably on a daily basis without noticing. You probably see a newspaper or, the logo around. And that's the thing. Like, these brands are everywhere.
I don't read the Telegraph, by the way. This is at my parents' house. And I just noticed it on the floor.
It's my parents' place.
Okay, so basically, I think it's bullshit. I think the real winner is the
designer that got paid for it.
Or the marketing guy who cashed that check in. geniuses. Second only to lawyers in terms of like, just great minds of like, oh, here's people sitting on billions of dollars. Let me figure out a way to part them with 100 million of that, and then just something like that. It's just great. It really is great.
I mean, at the end of the day, people have been talking about it. It got a load of press from the design.
Because if Facebook needs press.
Well, yeah, but I mean, they kind of do, because they need to stay relevant.
Well, I saw the first Facebook advert ever for me.
What, on like a bus stop? Yeah,
that was weird.
You saw an advert for Facebook?
An advert for Facebook. All it said was it had like two people holding hands or hanging out, and it was
just friends with a tick.
Yeah, and had the like icon button. Yeah. And I was like, huh, how old am I? Like, 'cause they think people are wandering around going like, Facebook?
Facebook,
yeah.
You say.
That's like if you were in the UK 20 years ago and you were like, British Telecom, like telecoms. What's this? Like, like everybody's.
It
got
is
a
really
phone.
interesting because they did a campaign a couple of, I want to say a few months ago. It might be about 6 months ago, of the same kind of thing. And I've only just seen them come back with the same kind of campaign. There must be something. There must be some marketing numbers or something that are saying we need to do traditional advertising, or Mark Zuckerberg's just like, I want to be everywhere, mate.
But when you've got that much money, you might as well turn around. They say, well, we've been thinking about traditional advertising. How much does it cost? Oh, about 0.0001% of our annual revenue. Yeah. Fuck
all
it.
Right,
why not then?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's just plaster the planet.
I mean, once you're saturated, there's all these weird little things you're trying to close the.
But then again, everybody's parents and grandparents are now starting to be very familiar with Facebook. They're the old people that share all the shit that you used to share.
Yeah.
Like when Facebook first came out, the irritating people on your timeline. And they're trying to attract those people and get them.
Sure, I mean, it is a bus stop after all, so that makes sense. You're not attracting the 30-year-old, young professional, because chances are they're
or marketing
probably, depending on what city you're in, but they're probably driving themselves to work or walking or something. Yeah. And there's depending on which bus stop you stand at, there's a certain
I mean, the thing is, there is an argument that the Facebook brand itself is kind of losing some cachet, which is why they have they've invested in Instagram, they've bought WhatsApp, and also Oculus. Like, Facebook own a gaming, like what is generally has been known as a gaming company. Yeah. And it's like they're getting into all these other games, just like Google get into something that isn't search or this
I
kind
was
of
listening
thing.
To I think it was Joshua Topolsky's podcast, which is also quite good, and I think it was that, and he was talking to somebody about how Facebook basically it's buying out anybody who they think could evolve into competition. It's not even direct.
Jesus
it's like
Christ.
So Instagram and WhatsApp were
smart, right? Like,
Instagram smart, but it's a little bit Skynet.
But that is Facebook. Yeah, like for example, Instagram, you already had a profile and you already had a timeline. You just couldn't comment without a picture or whatever. But they were a year away from adding events, and you had friends and like WhatsApp. WhatsApp's great. It's got billions of users, and they could have just switched on that you had a profile. Yeah. And then they could have quite easily added events. And these are the things that people like. For me, for example, Telegram, great app. It's a competitor to WhatsApp. I wish everybody overnight would just switch to it. It's got every feature of WhatsApp except it's privately.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's all install it now.
No, it's great. Yeah, I've got some friends already. We're kind of like bucking the trend.
I'll install it if you guys install Yo.
Oh my god! Let's not open that can of worms.
Is this the competitor to Marcus's app that was recently bought by Yo? I'm here.
Oh no! Isn't that Sean's idea?
No, that's not.
Sure. Oh, was that Sean?
That was Sean's idea. Right. He was like, "I've got." Yeah. Anyway,
he wanted to start an app called I'm Here.
And what did it do?
It just
pings people with there. I'm here.
What, their location?
Yeah.
Oh, that's all right. That's a pretty good idea.
That sounds genius, actually.
I mean, we've got Find My Friends. We just don't use it, which is on the iPhone.
You could Yo them, and you could say, "Yo, I'm here."
Yeah.
Check that out.
Yeah, but Yo doesn't give, like...
Or if you're a little bit street, you'd be like, "I'm here, Yo."
Wow. Anyway, let's get this one back on track.
We've never been on track.
And that comes from Marcos.
Yeah, right. Mr. Derail. Okay, so anyway, Telegram. I don't want to linger too much on it. Telegram is essentially a WhatsApp clone. They might have started at the same time, but WhatsApp got a lot more popular. It's got everything that WhatsApp does, except it hasn't been bought out by Facebook, and it's got huge security and encryption and stuff like that. Like it's massively encrypted. And yeah, it's basically got everything WhatsApp has except the users.
Does it have an endless bank of horrific emojis?
Probably.
Aren't they just on the phone now?
No, I think they're just on the phone for the most part.
Oh, really?
But anyway, it's great. If Facebook ever, I think they know it. If they ever just switch on the advertising on WhatsApp or anything like that,
there'll be a mass exodus.
Yeah, and Telegram's perfect. It's just ready. It's just waiting in the banks. I want everybody to start switching over early.
And it's installing on my phone now. There you go.
Yeah, so I kind of like them.
My
it's
only friend.
It's like a family-owned business somewhere in Germany. It's completely private. It's not a public company. It's like, anyway, I don't know. They could be evil. I don't know. But they can't be as evil as Facebook.
Did you just put that in the same sentence as Germany? Was that a natural conclusion?
They're in Germany. They could be evil.
I'm not sure why those two things have any. Why are we? Is that a thing? I'm not sure why there's any reference.
Oh, sorry, no, that's Austria.
We should probably move on to the other Facebook news of the day.
Wait, sorry. I was speaking about Telegram. That was going to wrap into.
I thought you wrapped up, but
that was going to wrap into. So they bought WhatsApp because it had billions of users. They could have just switched on a profile and basically people could. And if they could, that was it. I use Facebook. If I could log into Facebook and all it had was like 3 sections, which was just my messages and then events and then pictures.
Yeah.
Without any of the newsfeed bullshit, I'd be there. If somebody makes that platform, I'd be like, everybody, hop over. We're done. Like, all I use Facebook for is there's these events happening. Here are all my friends. Here's the pictures from that event, and I'm going to send you a message.
Yeah.
And that's it. All the other bullshit, I could just sweep away.
But that's the thing. Facebook won't get any money off of that. I mean, the newsfeed, the sponsored posts, the sponsored stories, you can... adverts down the side. There's adverts in your feed.
The news feed getting gradually and gradually further from what I actually want to hear.
See, that's funny. Mine's going the other way. They're getting cleverer at what I tap on, and now all I get is like The Verge, Engadget, Lifehacker,
it's quite thin kind of content.
Like they've figured out what I like to tap on, and they've moved a lot of the crap away. So I don't hear from it.
Maybe I'm just randomly clicking on the wrong kind of shit, or maybe I just don't know my own mind.
If you string a week of like tapping on the stuff you want to see and not tapping on the other stuff, I think I've heard in an article they've admitted they're shaping stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's it's just that's the thing. If it was about If it was about just having the stuff that you want to do, then Facebook wouldn't be making any money. Yeah. So unfortunately, you just kind of got to put up with stuff like the news feed. But I mean, there's what are you going to do? I mean, like Facebook, they are here to stay. People are like, it's just going to be another MySpace. It's not. They have way more money, way more resources, and
they've seen what happened to MySpace,
and they're buying out every bit of competition.
And they're buying out badass companies. Oculus is a great, cool company, and
I think if there will be a hero, somebody will, a kind of Elon Musk type or whatever, will come along and build, like I described, that basic social network.
Did you see that Secret
and not sell out? Yeah, but that's because they were trying something a bit funny anyway.
Yeah, so. Secret was a bit weird.
Yeah. But somebody will come along and
I never had enough friends on it to actually do things anonymously.
Really? I never tried it actually. I didn't have enough. I like to talk shit about people publicly on the podcast, so I wasn't sure what the secret thing was about. I fucking hate that.
You know what I love what you do on Facebook, Is you like put a link, you're like, interesting, and like nothing else. It's just
clickbaity.
No, yeah, come on.
Well, it's not even clickbaity because it's got the official title.
Interesting.
I'm pretty sure you've posted something and just said good.
Yeah, that is me.
No punctuation. It's just good.
I'm very aware that people are busy, and when I go through my newsfeed, I don't. When people start writing a comment, and then there's that more button or whatever, and I'm just like, oh god, that evolves into like 3 paragraphs. Yeah. So I just go, here's my emotion about this topic. Read the article. My opinion is good, bad,
indifferent.
Whatever. Anyway. But sorry, anyway, that's enough about me.
Cool. Well, I mean, like Facebook did something else that caused a controversy, and it's started to gain a lot of traction on the internet today and yesterday, I guess. So the friends icon, that you see your friends in the top, is it on the top left? Yeah. Top right or something like that. They've taken the man, made him the same size as the woman, and put him behind the woman. And whereas beforehand the man was in front and bigger, and it's sort of like highlighted, I guess, what they call unconscious sexism, which I don't really subscribe to.
Wow.
But like, the thing is, they've got a point that he shouldn't be massive, but at the same time,
men are generally bigger than women.
But okay, we need to. Okay,
actually,
if we go on a height average, if we take the population of planet Earth,
Facebook, like Marcos had me up until that anatomy thing, because this is just an icon.
Yeah.
And at the same time, though, like the woman is actually smaller. Technically, she's actually a little bit smaller than the man is. But I mean, like, what do you guys think? I mean,
you mean on that icon? Yeah, okay, on the new one. Yeah. Gotcha.
Didn't they used to be like just bobbleheads when Facebook? Years and years and years ago.
It's always been that silhouette, I think.
Yeah. Were they?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so, I mean, I want to get away from the whole, like, this is just feminazis, all this kind of thing.
Oh, that's a good one. I need to record that. Feminazis, that's good.
Have you not heard feminazis?
That's a buzzword on Reddit.
Yeah.
Like, it's. I don't feel like it's about that. I actually think that it's a nice. I actually think it has a nicer balance, and I also think that why the fuck shouldn't a woman be in front? I mean, like, it's just the fact is that the guys take it for granted that they are, always going to be sort of the dominant thing in a lot of media and a lot of kind of artwork and stuff like that. It's just sort of how it's been for forever, basically.
Yeah.
And the moment that something happens where they're not, it seems to cause some kind of outrage. And they're saying that this has been designed because, like, the designer, like, it was a design manager at Facebook saw it, and then, obviously got outraged and had to change it. That isn't actually how it worked. There's a really detailed blog post about how she actually did it, and it's really interesting. And it's not about the women should come first. It's about, well, let's even it out a little bit.
Yeah, the man's been in front for how many years now?
Yeah.
Let's let the woman have a turn in front.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, I mean, it's not as big a deal as everybody's making out to be.
And the thing is, if you didn't have that dividing line between, it would be a two-headed behemoth.
Well, I was just thinking about it. If you really want to even it out, just make that dividing line a straight line down the middle, like a hard cut line. Because it's a bit like... anyway, I don't want to get into it. But if you... Okay, right. When you're making a clay bust,
you are going
to Moreno, everybody.
Get right off. Right,
you don't want to, but you're going to.
So back in college, I had the opportunity to make a clay bust head of myself, and then the tutor was like, "Oh, this is nice, but you've rounded. We've chopped the shoulders off so that it's not a super wide thing. They chopped the shoulders off, right?" Yeah. And he said, "But part of the illusion, part of the effect, is that you do a hard cut on the shoulders. You don't round the edges on the shoulders because." Then the eye mistakes that for shoulders. Yeah, whereas when you hard cut it, it's obviously been cut.
Yeah.
Right? With this, if they really wanted to like play the equal line and get things back on balance, you'd hard cut it down the middle. Everybody would go, oh, it's a graphic, it's an icon.
Yeah.
They've cut the shoulders and just put the two together. There's a line in the middle. It's not like you just merge the two together.
Yeah.
And it represents that you've got the two things, but they've obviously anyway. But I'm not very strong on that opinion. But
this is going to pass me by if again, this is one of those things. If nobody had said anything, I wouldn't have noticed.
There's a slightly different one. This one's for groups. I'm just showing. So basically, in the first one, it was two guys. A big guy in the front, a smaller guy at the back, and then a smaller woman at the back.
You'll be able to see this on the blog post. Tom will
put this on the post. Like the new one is basically the woman's bigger and in front, and you got two guys at the back. I guess they're trying to even it out that there's two of them and one of I don't know.
Okay. I have a few important things to say about this that nobody wants to hear.
So is that groups?
This is groups.
Yeah. So okay, I've been on the internet for what I would consider a long time. I would have been on it longer if I could have afforded to get on the internet earlier. But I've been on there pre-Web 2.0. I've been around for about 16 years on the web, let's say. And I was there when the web was difficult. I was there when it involved dialing up. It involved involved drivers, and it involved connecting stuff. It involved a pain in the ass.
And your one choice was Internet Explorer.
Literally, that's right. And it involved the kind of stuff that generally, and people don't want to hear this, but I'm going to say it anyway, generally the average girl's not into, which is scratching heads about drivers and you know, oh, this bit of software is not working, so I've got to go onto this website, and then I've got to download that zip file and run it through this converter.
Yeah.
What used to be computing, right?
Yeah.
And now it's 2015. We take an iPhone out of the box. It works right away. Wi-Fi works. Yeah. Remember when Wi-Fi didn't work? Yeah. I remember losing days when Wi-Fi didn't work. I remember those days, yeah. And computers are super friendly. Everything's fine. And surprise, surprise, loads of people and a lot of girls are now really into tech. And it's like, that's nice.
Yeah.
But I remember nobody gave a fuck when tech was really difficult, and only super hardcore nerds liked it, and of those super hardcore nerds, only a few were girls, because it tended to not.
It just tends to be that
tick
way.
Their boxes. Yeah. Like, it wasn't people going, "You can't be a nerd," like jumping on girls, going like, "Stop, stop spending time." Equal amounts of freedom. Just it tended to suit the mentality of boys, which was like, "Oh, there's this."
I think that's still somewhat true.
Yeah,
like, I mean, as someone who's like when I do music production, when I go onto forums and things like that, when I chat to people, the majority of people doing, I mean, some of it's obviously asexual, you can't tell.
Yeah.
But, like, users, when you can figure out their username or, they've got more of a profile or something like that, you can identify them with pictures and things like that. They're all guys still. There are more women coming through. Yeah. And I'm not saying that's how it should be. I'd love to see an even split between men and women. But
I think the important thing is that the world is confused at the moment between how things should be and how things are. They're trying to the world's trying to shape something into, like, for example, right? The problem is guys don't complain that much, right? So, for example, it's okay for a guy to be a nurse, but I think we'd be quite comfortable with saying the average guy doesn't super motivate. That's not what they want to go and do.
They want to be a mechanic or
There's a nature in there where
I've never wanted to be a mechanic.
Right, but you want to tinker with stuff, and it's probably not people. Yeah, like so. There's something there. Now, if a guy wants to be a nurse, fine. Nobody's actually there's nothing there, right?
Yeah.
And if a girl wants to get into tech, fine. There's nothing there, but. There is a nature, evidently, because you can strip a lot of components away, and this still happens, where the kind of weird, hard work, depressing problem solving that comes along with being interested in certain early technologies and things like that, it tends to grab the attention of guys just who are not influenced in any way or whatever. They just
I'm all for equal opportunities and equal entry level, barriers to entry.
Yeah.
But there's a difference between that and then trying to force
an equilibrium,
that isn't natural.
Yeah. Like, for example, now that tech is soft and round edged and everything's great, and we've got Macs and the battery life's amazing and Wi-Fi works, loads of women want to get into the tech industry, and it's like, okay, that's fine. What about mechanics? There's loads of mechanics that, garages exist.
Yeah.
And there's very few women mechanics.
Yeah.
It's still really difficult, and it's greasy, and it's a horrible environment. How come women aren't kicking the door down for equality in that industry as much as they are in the tech industry?
I don't know. Maybe the thing is, though, it's not something that is very visible that we can see. I know that there are women mechanics, and there are women that are really into cars and all this kind of thing. Yeah. It's not like, the thing is, when it comes to stuff like tech and gaming and stuff like that, it's so visible on the internet that because that's where it belongs, that we.
So I think it correlates to the glamour that's involved.
I think it's to do with aspirations as well. Being a mechanic isn't necessarily these days such an aspirational job unless you're working as a Formula One mechanic. In which case, it's still almost 100% male.
Yeah.
And
okay, I'm just gonna play devil's advocate.
Yeah, do it. We need someone to.
Basically, because I don't know if you guys were involved or not involved, but saw what was going on with the Gamergate stuff a few months back.
I really didn't want to look into it. It looked just really messy.
Basically, it's just a bunch of dudes being bullies, and essentially a girl wanted to state her opinion on their hobby, and they all got pissed. Yeah. And
was this on a forum or a comment?
Basically, there's specifically, I can't remember the exact details of how it kicked off, but a lot of the attention surrounded around a lady called Anita Sarkeesian, who runs a website called Feminist Frequency, and basically she does videos of women versus tropes. So basically,
versus
tropes, as in a
stereotype.
A trope is like a stereotype.
Oh right, I don't know why I don't know that word.
So what she'd do is,
considering I stereotype all the time, I should really know that word.
Yeah, I mean, she would make a video saying women in games are portrayed like this for these reasons because they are a common trope about how women are generally portrayed.
Okay.
So the gaming people got all gamers. And not all gamers, just a very small amount of dickheads.
Yeah, the vocal minority.
Yeah, got really pissed off with it. They were like, this is where the feminazi thing comes from.
Right.
Got used a lot. You're just trying to take over and you're trying to force a perspective.
Just for the sake of...
Yeah, but it isn't. She's legitimately interested in, how one of the biggest media industries in the world portrays more than half of... the population. There's more women than men in the world. Yeah. So, why should they be forced to the back? Why should they be forced to prove themselves?
Why,
more?
when their armor gets better, it gets scantier?
Exactly. And that is a.
You put something on. Was it on Facebook or something like that? Yeah. Which was a link to all these things in video games, which is so stupid.
Look, the thing is,
those are tropes, by the way. Those things that.
I mean, we don't. Guys don't. They don't have time to go and sift through the probably bullshit, ridiculous fantasies that women. That's guy media. Those are guys have put those games together and they've expressed their fantasies in them. But we don't then go into
historically.
We don't go into historically. We don't go into the. What's it called? What's that genre of books that chicks love?
Romantic fiction, clip flicks.
50 Shades of Grey.
Something like that, right? We don't really go through there and kind of stand in the library and go, we did what? Reading through the book, going I can't believe that they think that, that. But that's because it's not that visible. It's not that glamorous. It's not a target.
That specific instance though is you're still missing the point that
I think I am there.
The whole Gamergate thing was completely unacceptable.
That
was horrific.
With books, women are pretty well represented just in general. It's a fucking huge thing. Women can write, women can be characters, and generally speaking, it's a fairly balanced thing. And the same could sort of be said for gaming. Not gaming, I mean movies. I mean, there's well-written female characters, there's well-written male characters.
Yeah, there's female leads.
It's getting there.
Stuff like Joss Whedon is a brilliant advocate for kind of characters like Buffy the Vampire Slayer. You've got stuff like, I actually think Black Widow in the Avengers movies done really well. Though people complained that she's now kind of actually.
Is that Scarlett Johansson?
It's stuff like that. I mean, that's fine. But with gaming, it's such a boys' club.
Oh yeah,
more than
it
anything
is.
else.
Hugely.
And that's. I mean, it's gonna be because guys have always made games and guys have always played games, and it's only very recently with the advent of mobile and social gaming and stuff.
There's one more thing. Guys have always bought the games as well.
Yeah.
It's not just that we. Anybody can buy a game. Anybody can buy a PlayStation, and it's not. When we talk about what's the word? Vote with your money or whatever. There have always been somewhat games that cater for women and things like that specifically.
The problem is that when you think, well, I'm gonna just assume that this is the case. But when you think female gaming icon, you think Lara Croft, basically. That's generally what most people are going to think of. You think of a tiny, like, slim-waisted, massive-titted, like, woman hardly wearing anything, and that is the woman of the gaming world.
Yeah, okay. That's what women are aspiring to be in the gaming world.
Whereas
in theory.
With guys, I mean, what I can think of, there's just more variety there. You've got like Marcus Phoenix, who's big and bulky and stuff, and like obviously I don't connect with him at all.
Yeah,
but
I've got,
like Nathan Drake, who's like
guys, we don't complain that much about the fact that almost universally every character in a video game is a ripped hunk, like a huge dude who's like just bursting out of their shirt, massive muscles. We don't spend any moment going. We don't have that bug where we're like.
But then again, we are the strongest sex represented sort of thing.
Yeah,
and we don't have this. We don't have this thing that having to fight for equality for our side of the
because
sex.
we've always been. There's always been a lot more variety with how we're.
It's like me as a white British male. And I'm in, like, the easy club in life, basically. I was born into the easy club. Like, I wasn't born in Australia, so not every animal's trying to kill me. I was born into a democracy. I'm white, so nobody's really going to discriminate against me, and I'm male. So, again, there's another tick on the probably not discriminated against box. Whereas I think females have to continually fight to some degree.
Yeah,
I mean, things are getting better, but that's no reason to stop fighting for. I mean, I think there's the equality in the gaming industry is horrific.
It is
terrible, and I think females are mostly misrepresented. Like we were saying, with the armor, the higher class elite armor you go, the more like a string fucking bra you get.
And just in terms of variety, it's
and the way females are written. I think it's getting better. Like you say, with the Buffy side of things, with the strong female Joss Whedon type characters. That's now starting to get into the gaming industry, but historically they've been the support mage.
One specific example I can think of, and it actually goes back to Tomb Raider, but it's the new reboot of Tomb Raider, is the biggest formative experience of that game, where she just, like, it's basically her first kill. And what's her first kill? It's because she's about to get raped. And like people, like, she's basically captured. This guy starts coming and like sort of starts to feel her up and stuff, and then so she's all tied up, and then she managed to get free, and then kills him. That's basically like, that's it. That's her formative life experience.
That's what flicks the switch
and it's
on.
Just, it's like that was really controversial because it's just lazy fucking writing. Like, oh, it's a girl. Oh, she's hot. Oh, she's young. She's obviously not. This is the only way that this like woman who's otherwise really smart and adventurous and all this kind of thing can actually have a formative experience.
If it was a male character, would he be being raped?
Well, no, exactly. No, this is the thing. You need to ask,
he
like,
might just naturally be that way.
And I know that we've gone off the point from the icons a little bit, but it's just a larger thing.
It's huge.
What's kind of interesting, and I might be wrong on this, but I was at Silicon Beach a couple of years ago now, and they were talking about Code Club, which is like a club, after-school club for kids to learn how to code, basically. Like we're talking primary school kids. So get them early. And I am pretty sure, and I'm going to need to check, but I'm pretty sure that the turnout was fairly even.
Oh, good.
Because when you get girls that young...
I thought you were going to say the turnout was all male.
No.
And I was going to go, oh, really?
Well, it would have been like 10, 20 years ago.
Yeah. I went to... I did, when I was at school, I did lunchtime, like, code clubs or whatever, and... No, that doesn't work. I went to an all-boys school.
Wow.
What a twat!
Wow, that would have been
I think the point I'm trying to make is, like, when...
That's awesome. Yeah.
When you give the opportunity for everybody to get involved, they will. But we've got to get past this whole is them or us thing. And since seeing these icons and some of the stuff... some of the... I mean... A lot of comments are like, oh, have they got nothing better to do? I'm like, well, this person probably didn't, because she was in charge of design, so she just saw something to fix, and she fixed it. and it might not necessarily need fixing from a lot of people's perspective, but she saw a need and she filled that need. And has arguably made a more rounded thing.
If it was a male designer, would there be this uproar?
Well,
or would he have in theory been persuaded by the feminazis and guilted into it?
There were two men involved in the process. She was the design manager, and there were there were men involved in the process of the revisions and stuff like that. So it was a pretty well-rounded thing.
She probably had less to do with it than is actually publicised.
I mean, it was her idea. She started looking at it, and then I would tell anybody who is listening to this, read the post, because it's really interesting.
And where's this on the Facebook blog? Or?
Well, it'll be linked on the...
I'll link it on our blog and also on our Facebook, because it's really interesting. It actually shows how the decision was made. And I'm just so fucking pissed off that I spend so much time on the internet, on tech sites, on gaming sites and stuff like that. When I go to Comic-Con or gaming shows, women are constantly having to say, don't stand around taking photos of me, you creeps. Because the guys, because
I have got a bit of a. Well, finish your point.
But basically, the guys that are there, they don't know better. This is the problem. They spend their lives. I mean, okay, this is a real bad stereotype because I am sort of part of the community, and I love gamers and I love kind of nerds because it's now is our time, It's
the uprising has begun.
He's shaking his fist in the air. By the way. It's passionate.
But there is a small minority of people who tend to frequent these kind of shows who don't really know the social implications of what they're doing. When you walk up to a girl who's cosplaying, no matter what she's wearing, you don't just go up and grab them.
Really, that's happening.
It happens.
But I think
wait, did it happen once, or is it?
No, it's something that is I think it was PAX, the Penny Arcade Expo. A couple of years ago, they had to put loads of signs up saying,
but that's what
I think that's because of the nature of being a nerd is being very isolated from society as a whole, and a lot of people have social problems.
There is a lot of that, and I think the more education there is, the better, and also gamers and people that consume stuff like comics and movies and stuff are very entitled people, and there's this sense of entitlement when you walk around these shows that these girls and guys, to be honest, they put in a fuck ton of effort to make these costumes, and they're not just there to be gawked at. I mean, they're there.
Well, in theory, they are there to be gawked at, but they're not there to be
in a specific way.
They're not there to be. I'm trying to think of the word now.
Objectified. I hate that word, but that's. I mean, it's one of those things. There's a sliding scale. I'm not saying everybody's the same, and I'm not saying, and I am saying. And I'm not saying that social isolation is any excuse for the behaviour. No. I'm just saying it's possibly one reason. I mean, we're in such a progressive society, or we like to think we are. And I just want.
I don't think we're that progressive. Well, we want to be progressive.
I mean, we're getting there.
At least things are moving.
We're in the most progressive era of our time, I think.
That's fair.
And I just want us all to kind of go to a show and have a good time and not have to worry, if I'm there with a friend who's a girl who's dressed up, I don't want her to be constantly on her guard. I want her to be enjoying herself,
it like the guys would.
And it's just
I think there's some evolution there to be made in terms of like you said, the education of it. I don't mind. I think these things can get better. I don't like the way it's handled. I don't like these weird bickering fights people have on the internet.
I think they're inevitable, though.
Yeah, it's just it's really annoying. I don't know. I agree. Despite all my comments and stuff, of course it'll be nice if things are kind of leveled out or whatever. But I think if I had to pick a group who I would give the most respect to, it would be any girls who endured the early days of tech and gaming, and there are, so it's not impossible. So, but because that's truer to the source of how things were, or anyway, it's a huge topic. But yeah, of course, it would be nice if everybody just gets along. But what I don't want to happen is if it's somebody's motivation to create a game whose main character is a girl in skimpy clothing. Fine, just
fucking do it. Definitely
make it, and if nobody wants to buy it, fine. But what I don't want to happen is that those people can't make that game because other people are complaining.
Oh no, that is absolutely like censorship like that is absolutely unnecessary.
And I think that's where it's going, because there's so much backlash against any sort of action and it's going to grow that people are just they're going to have this idea, they're going to jot it down in their notebook, and they're going to go, fuck it. Like, it's not worth all the hassle and the defacing and defamation and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
I think that's just art in general, isn't it? Throughout the years, and I think video gaming is an art.
It didn't used to be that bad. Like, for example, here's another kind of.
Well, no. What I mean is, like, you couldn't do, like, there were certain composers that under certain reigns of certain monarchs couldn't play minor chords because it made them unhappy.
Right.
And so censorship of art has always been a thing. Like, you can't play minor chords because it makes the king unhappy.
It's so
all
ironic.
your songs must be written with major chords.
I was thinking about this the other day, and I was thinking about the irony, or the nature, rather, the human nature, that in an age where the internet gave us the freedom of speech, it's ourselves that are now playing the censorship role.
Yeah.
So it's not BT that's censoring anybody. It's not Sky that's censoring this. It's not.
Well, they're not censoring
the
this,
government that's censoring this. It's not. It's not like AOL or Facebook specifically.
Yeah,
it's all the people kicking off that. In other words, when Big Brother isn't censoring you and you're just left to squabble on your own thing, the population just starts censoring itself by kicking off loudly about these things.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, that's us.
But then again, there should be a certain amount of ebb and flow, and that's healthy.
That is a healthy thing. I mean, like,
but it's when things get over the top and things actually get censored. I think
But that is what's happening. Like, people are getting kicked off Twitter, a place where it's supposed to be relatively free speech, for quite like mundane stuff that you're just like.
And I think Reddit's getting very
but that's what
Reddit
very
has
sensitive
a big thing where I think there's a subreddit called Fat People Hate, or there was, but basically they're like, this is horrible. They're literally putting pictures of fat people up and like basically besmirching them on the internet, like having massive bitching fights about these people.
But where do you draw the line?
Well, this is the thing. Like that is not. Somehow that is not the worst of Reddit. There is a whole lot deeper.
But that is the internet. That's the purpose of it. In fact, that is America, isn't it? You're supposed to allow in America. You have to say in America because they're all about liberty. But like, if you want to be a Nazi, you can be a Nazi. That's the point of you're not supposed to impact anybody else's life about it. Yeah. But you're supposed to.
You have the right to be and say and you have the right to be and say and do and like be the person that you want to be, but you do not have the right to like basically bully people.
Infringe.
And you don't have the right to infringe on other people's happiness. Free speech doesn't mean that. The right to free speech is the right to say something and not be arrested for it. The right it is not there to say something with no backlash whatsoever.
But I'm not. These people aren't grabbing the fat people in the pictures and locking them in a room and forcing them to view this sub forum.
Yeah, but they are putting these people in the public domain when they haven't asked to be.
And these people will get doxxed. They'll get their histories looked up. They'll get kind of stuff delivered to them, all this kind of thing. It's a horrible.
If it gets to that level, fine. But if it means you want an internet forum where you can talk shit about whatever you want,
the thing is, if you put something bad about someone else will join into it who's infinitely worse than you and will take it to another level, and that's just a fact of the internet because the internet.
But I think we're gonna. These arguments need this to and fro, this backlash, is because at some point we'll find some sort of acceptable
code. There will eventually
code.
be a middle ground.
Yeah. Well, but that middle ground will be very boring beige colour that nobody wants to go into. But
then again, do you want people getting death threats and things like that because they've stated their opinion online? I think there is a middle ground between beige and boring and death threats.
Yeah.
That basically these arguments form.
But the internet is people aren't formed on the internet. You know, this is probably a byproduct.
Some people are.
No,
Yeah.
but
then that's horrible parenting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
there's
that's
a lot of horrible parents out there.
Right, so it's not an internet problem. It's that people are arriving at the internet with an angst and an output, like a motivation to
and an agenda. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So we're trying to tell the internet, hey, why is this stuff happening on the internet? And it's like, hold on, wait, let's switch the internet off a moment. Everybody's still a dickhead.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's not the internet.
No, that's
like,
it. I'm not saying it, but what I am saying is the internet has enabled that these people can now have a public voice, and it's on record permanently. So it's a question of social etiquette and social education, and deciding, okay, we now have this permanent record somewhere of what people's opinions are on it.
Yeah.
You know, some of this is not fair, and some of this is degrading to people, and it's permanent.
And you just have to realise that you're not the only person that's going to be reading this, and the internet is so open that the person that you're writing about could see it and could get into some other shit because of what you're saying. Someone else might take that and make it even bigger. And I don't know, we kind of need to start wrapping this up because we can
it's a huge topic,
go on forever.
Yeah.
But if anybody has any further thoughts on this, I would happily hear about it, and maybe we should get a girl in.
I think, I was going to say that we might need some female perspective.
Yeah, I mean,
at some point.
I think it's one of those things with this podcast. I do actually want to get a female perspective on it.
Yeah,
because I think it would be really interesting for me and for anybody that listens to actually have that voice.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think we should probably wrap up.
I think we've digressed as much as we can.
Yeah. Well, it's not very tech. Yeah, it's not that much about tech. But this kind of topic is affecting the tech industry.
It's the implications of what technology can do.
But it's not why I'm interested in tech. In fact, I don't care about people in tech. I'm interested in the tech. I don't care. People are just a pain in the ass, and I don't really care that much about that. But yeah, anyway, so cool. it leads to stuff like that.
Right. Okay. Well, this has been a very deep podcast. It's been very heated. I'm quite sweaty now.
Yeah.
Right, Jim, what is your Twitter handle? If anybody wants to contact.
I can't even remember. It is at WeAreVog. That's VOG at the end.
Marcos?
What, Twitter? At MDJCM.
Cool, and I am at TCJW_designs. Jim always looks at me really funny because I got it wrong once.
I've got one last thing to say, which is I just thought of it, but I think what I liked about technology in the early days, when I kind of got into it, was that it wasn't about emotion, it wasn't about people's feelings or anything like that. It was just about stuff, people pushing the boundary about what technology could do, and now. It's becoming so emotive. Like, it's becoming so like...
It's because technology is about the people these days.
It is now, yeah.
And it's just the way it is.
No, it doesn't... we're making it social and all kind of soppy and stuff, but it used to be, just here's the specs of some stuff.
It used to be a bunch of dudes just in a garage just kind of not talking to each other and making shit.
I know, it used to be about the thing. It used to be about the thing. Yeah. And I didn't really look any further past that. It's just about the thing. So it's an interesting change.
Right. Enough. Anyway. We're done. Yeah. Contact us at Interactivists on Twitter, www.interactivist.co.uk. We're on Facebook, facebook.com/theinteractivist, and a ton of other stuff. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next time. See you later.
Bye-bye.